just to keep it real,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as a student athlete.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what they tell us from face value.
Mm-hmm.
So they can just keep everybody going with them trying to make money off us. And like I told you guys off camera, when I was at Wazoo, weights 5, go to class 7 to 12. Mind you, body's hurting, tired, trying to get food too. Go to, have a meeting at 1, film at 2 something, get our equipment on, practice from 3 to 7, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Then we have meetings from 7 to 9, 8 to 9.
Yeah.
And then, okay, you got to go to tutoring. By the way, the tutor might think subconsciously, not subconsciously, but stereotypically, the tutor thinks that you want them to do the work for you.
Yeah.
I've never been the type of dude to have the
Wow.
tutor do my work for me.
Yep.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, you got to teach me.
Yeah.
You got to, teach me. Don't do it for me.
Yeah,
Teach me.
exactly.
Because then I'm frustrated at the fact that I'm sitting here with you wasting my time and you're not teaching me and I can't even go study on my own. I got to go to sleep on a blow-up mattress with a hole in it with duct tape and can't even sleep. And then you over here sitting there just trying to do the work for me, bro. I don't want you to do the work.
And it's
for me.
like
I feel
that's my only real attempt at trying to get this education that they're saying I'm actually getting for free,
Yeah.
right? So, no, I'm glad you talked about that too, because that's a misconception as well with the NCAA, right? I think it's a popular topic because it's true. A lot of times these things aren't just trending because everybody's talking about them. If everybody's talking about them, there's got to be some truth to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And but it takes, it's interesting because you're no longer in that space, so therefore you can kind of speak on it, right?
Yeah.
Why is it? And I think that's the problem. It's like we want to hear it from the inside coming out from the inside, because by the time he talks about it, it won't hit as hard because it's kind of like in retrospect. I'd rather hear it from who's the cat that Rich Paul you hear about that story, Rich Paul, the dude who signed to Syracuse and then
went to sign with New Balance.
Yeah, so he forego
$1
his
million contract.
Yeah, right. So I would love to have him get on an interview and talk about that, right? And talk about what that means, because it's modern day slavery, if you ask me, and that's and when you use that term, people think it's exaggerated. They're like, "Oh, calm down, you're dramatic." Like, no, it's real, But no, I'm glad you talked about that. Now, another reason why it's important you mentioned that is because I spoke to a couple of homies that I know that did play sports in college, and one thing that's common amongst all athletes who either are in college or after college they're no longer playing is that transition period, right? From when you go to being an athlete, and that's really your day job. That's your job, right? Yeah. And then trying to transition into something, trying to be good at something else that you've been good at, other than what you've been good at your whole life, in a sense. What was kind of that transition? Did you kind of have examples, or who helped you with that?
Like I said, my mom, she helped me with that.
Yeah.
But also it was like a self-evaluation. It was like me literally finding who I truly was, like reading, like history, like seeing like all the people who looked like me who did all these great things. Not the people that they show us, like MLK.
Yeah.
I think there should be a Malcolm X Day. So like the people who like that we never knew about, like our history back before we were slaves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot.
Like we were people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were wealthy people before we were slaves.
Oh yeah.
You want to go back to ancient Kemet and the ancient countries. You know what I'm saying? The Moors. You want to talk about that? You want to talk about the first universities built? You want to talk about
preach?
For
real.
Where the English language really truly comes from. Where every language truly comes from.
Yeah.
When I started discovering that, I actually did a paper. I studied hidden colors. You say there's YouTube University, right? I studied hidden colors. It was a series created, basically teaching about the hidden history. I watched it 3 times, and I took 20 pages of notes on it, and I did my final paper on it in college. The teacher was white. I gave him the DVDs, and my idea was to get him to teach this to the class in the curriculum. So I came back to Pullman.
It's like Fear Factor.
I'll never forget it. Tall white dude with glasses, because I studied ethnic studies.
Yeah.
And this was like a class where I studied world racism, world racism, and Eurocentrism. So I studied that too. And so when I took him, he looked at it, and he was like, all right. He came back a couple days later, and he was like, I got to talk to you. I cannot teach this to the class. I was like, why? He's like, I'll lose my job. This is true. Everything on here is true. but I can't teach it to the class. But you can do your 20-page paper on it. And so when I've seen that, and I've always been like a curious, like,
Was this at Wazoo?
yes, at Wazoo, but in high school I was into like stuff like that. And my grandfather, we were close, so we always talked about the melanin in our skin,
Yeah.
how much we're worth, and things like that.
Yeah.
And so when I found that out, you know, and then I really started digging deep into who I am, and really, and that's how you really start finding the power. It really is, you know, within you. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Fly Above is about. But that's how you really start knowing who you are and where you come from and who your people are, and you start seeing it and you start believing it.
That's right.
Because your oppressor knows you better than you know yourselves. You know what I'm saying? So the only way to conquer that is to get to know yourself.
Yeah, no, that's
better.
right.
And then you'll feel like you can do anything.
Yeah.